bring in Brit Hume with his thoughts as we sort of digest where we are tonight. Brit, what's the big takeaway for you when you look at these three races?
Well, I don't think you ever need to look very far in our current politics without wondering what the effect of Donald Trump was and is. I was struck by what was coming out of Mikey Sherrill's campaign tonight, that he was a big factor in the race as far as she was concerned, and resistance to him was that. There was a number that was cited earlier from our polling data that showed that something like 70% of the voters on her side that were acting to resist Donald Trump. So I think we have to keep that in mind as we look at all these results. And that's the other side of that is that Trump can turn out voters, but they turn out for him. And everything I think we've seen tonight suggests that when he's not on the ballot, even if he's trying to influence the ballots, if he's not on there himself, his voters are much less interested than they might otherwise be. So that as the Republican Party moves forward here under his leadership, they have to start thinking about what it's going to be like when he's gone. And what it's going to be like in next year when we have a midterm election in which he will not be on the ballot, but the fortunes of his administration very much will be. So I think that's a factor coming out of tonight that we need to keep an eye on.
Brit, we were very sad that you weren't up here to give us the betting markets as we progressed tonight, because they were pretty accurate.
Well, you know why I did that back then? What was it, 2016, when I was talking about the betting markets, was that I was sitting way down at the far end of the desk. And by the time you all ever got to me, everything that could be said had been said. So I was resorting to the betting markets just to have something to say. As it turned out that night, they told the tale.
That's right. That's right. Now, I wanted to ask you about the economy. And, there is this thought by Treasury Secretary Bessent, others, that this golden time is coming, that it's all going to come to fruition in the first or second quarter of 26. But right now, there is a feeling dichotomy between big companies and Wall Street and what families at home may be feeling. And you're starting to see that in the polls on the economy upside down on inflation and on the economy overall.
I agree, Brad, and I think that we have to keep an eye on the effect of AI on all of this. These staggering investments are being made in AI. The technology seems to be advancing by leaps and bounds. But the one thing I think we can all agree on is that it is going to kill a lot of jobs. Now, it may, in the long run, create a lot of new jobs, as technology has a history of doing. But in the near term, a lot of people are going to be hurt by it. A lot of people will be helped, too, and they'll be on the high end of things, and that'll all be nice. But there are going to be a lot of people who are not on the high end of things who are going to be feeling that, and that will have an effect on our politics going forward, to be sure, particularly in the near term.
All right. Are we going? I think we're going to a tease here, right, guys?
Brit, thank you as always.
Thank you very much. We'll be back to you in just a bit.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.